Captain Blue stood at the helm of the merchant vessel Star Wanderer, his four-fingered hands gripping the command console as he stared at the approaching danger. The ship's cargo hold was filled with medical supplies meant for the outer colonies, but right now, those life-saving materials seemed very far from reach. "Captain, 6 ships just appeared on our scanners." First Officer Green's voice shook slightly as she reported from her station. Her antenna twitched nervously, a clear sign of distress among her species. "They're using old signature masking technology. Pirates, sir." The captain's purple skin darkened, a sign of deep concern among his people. The Star Wanderer was a merchant vessel, not a warship. Its shields were designed to handle small meteors and space debris, not weapon fire. The medical supplies in their cargo hold would fetch a high price on the black market, making them a perfect target. "Activate our defense systems," Captain Blue ordered, trying to keep his voice steady for his crew. The ship's AI hummed to life, its holographic form appearing beside him. "Defense systems online," the AI announced in its calm voice. "However, Captain, I must inform you that the approaching vessels are broadcasting unusual interference patterns. My connections to the Galactic Alliance defense network are being disrupted." That was when the first shot hit them. The entire ship shook, and warning lights flashed across every console. The pirates hadn't even bothered to make demands. They were going straight for the kill. "Shields at 60%. Officer Green called out. "They're using some kind of shield-piercing technology. Our AI can't adapt fast enough to counter it." Captain Blue watched as their attackers moved into an attack formation. These weren't ordinary pirates. Their movements were too coordinated, their technology too advanced. They had probably stolen military-grade equipment and were now using it against peaceful merchants. "Try to send a distress signal to the nearest Galactic Alliance patrol," he ordered, but his communications officer shook his head. "Sir, they're jamming all quantum channels. Our advanced communications are useless." Another hit rocked the ship. The lights flickered, and several control panels sparked. The Star Wanderer's AI flickered and stuttered, its systems struggling against the pirates' jamming technology. "Shields at 40% and falling," the AI reported, its voice now breaking up. "Standard evasive maneuvers are proving ineffective. I cannot maintain optimal defensive patterns under this interference." Captain Blue looked around at his crew. They were all highly trained, but they had relied on AI assistance for so long that manual control of the ship seemed like a distant memory. The pirates knew exactly what they were doing: disable the AI, and most modern ships became easy targets. "Sir," Officer Green said suddenly, "what about the old emergency systems? The ones we keep as backup?" The captain's eyes widened. Every ship was required to maintain ancient radio systems as emergency backup, but nobody had used them in decades. They were considered primitive, useful only in the most desperate situations. This definitely counted as desperate. "Do it," he ordered. "Broadcast on all frequencies, even the primitive ones. Someone must be out there." Officer Green quickly activated the old radio system. Her fingers stumbled over the unfamiliar controls as she typed out their message. "Mayday. Mayday. This is Galactic Alliance merchant vessel Star Wanderer. We are under attack by pirates in Sector 7G9. Our AI systems are compromised. Ships with manual control capabilities. Please respond. We have critical medical supplies aboard. Repeat. Mayday." The message went out, broadcasting across both the modern quantum channels and the ancient radio frequencies that barely anyone monitored anymore. Captain Blue watched the pirates closing in, their ships moving to surround the Star Wanderer in a deadly formation. "Keep broadcasting," he ordered, his voice grim. "It's our only hope now." As the crew worked frantically to keep their failing systems online, none of them realized that their desperate call was about to reach a very special listener, one who would change their understanding of what it meant to be advanced forever. Jack Stone was doing his usual patrol around Earth's lunar base when the message came through. Most pilots found these patrols boring, but not Stone. He enjoyed the quiet moments in space, feeling the direct control of his ship without too much AI help. While other pilots relied heavily on computer assistance, Stone preferred to fly the old way, with his hands on the controls. "Stone, are you picking up something strange on the old radio frequencies?" the lunar base controller asked, breaking the peaceful silence. "Let me check," Stone replied, flicking on his backup radio system. Most ships kept these old radios only because space law required them, but Stone actually maintained his, believing that old technology sometimes worked better than new. Through the static, a desperate voice came through. "Mayday! Mayday! This is Galactic Alliance merchant vessel Star Wanderer." Stone sat up straighter in his cockpit. The Galactic Alliance, the advanced alien civilization that had mostly ignored Earth since first contact 5 years ago. They thought Earth was too primitive because humans still like to control things manually instead of letting AIs do all the work. "Base, I'm receiving a distress call," Stone reported. "It's from a Galactic Alliance ship. They're under attack by pirates." There was a long pause before the controller responded. "Stone, you know the Alliance doesn't want our help. They think we're too primitive. They're asking for ships with manual control capabilities," Stone argued. "That's us. Their AI systems are down." He checked his instruments. "I can reach their location in the prototype fighter. It's faster than any other ship we have." The prototype was Earth's newest spacecraft, built to prove that human pilots could match any AI-controlled ship. It had both advanced technology and manual controls, making it unique in the galaxy. Stone had helped design it, combining the best of both worlds. "Let me take this up the chain," the controller said. The next 10 minutes felt like hours to Stone as he listened to the distress call repeating over and over. Finally, his radio crackled. "Commander Stone," General Ray's voice came through. "The situation is this. That ship is carrying medical supplies to outer colonies. If those pirates steal or destroy those supplies, thousands could die. The Alliance patrol ships are too far away to help." "I can reach them in time, sir," Stone said firmly. "The Alliance might see this as Earth interfering where we don't belong," the general warned. "Or they might finally see what human pilots can do," Stone countered. "Sir, they need help, and we can provide it." Another long pause followed. Stone waited, his hand already hovering over the engine startup sequence. "Very well, Commander," the general finally said. "Mission authorized. Show them what Earth's best pilot can do. But be careful, this could either open doors for Earth or shut them forever." "Thank you, sir," Stone said, his fingers flying over the controls. The prototype fighter hummed to life around him. "I won't let you down." As Stone prepared for launch, the lunar base staff quickly loaded extra fuel and ammunition. This would be the first time an Earth ship went this deep into Alliance space. The prototype's engines roared as Stone ran through his pre-flight checks, doing most of them manually just as he trained. "Launch clearance granted," the controller announced. "Good hunting, Stone." The prototype shot out of the lunar base like a bullet. Stone felt the familiar push of acceleration as he pointed his ship toward the coordinates from the distress call. The stars stretched out before him, and somewhere out there, a crew of advanced aliens was about to learn that primitive didn't always mean inferior. "Hold on, Star Wanderer," Stone muttered as he pushed his engines to full power. "Earth's on the way." Stone's prototype fighter raced through space, faster than any Earth ship had ever flown before. The ship's engines glowed bright blue as he pushed them beyond their tested limits. On his navigation screen, a red dot showed where the Star Wanderer was waiting for help. "Warning," his ship's computer announced. "Approaching Jupiter's gravity well." Instead of going around Jupiter like the computer suggested, Stone smiled. "Perfect," he said, adjusting his course. He aimed straight for the massive planet, making the computer flash more warnings. "Course correction advised." The computer insisted. "Current trajectory is dangerous." "That's the point," Stone muttered. He had practiced this move many times in simulations, but never in real life. As his ship got closer to Jupiter, the giant planet's gravity began pulling at him. Most pilots would fight against it, but Stone did the opposite. He turned off his main engines and let Jupiter's gravity grab his ship. The prototype curved around the planet like a stone from a sling, picking up incredible speed. The computer kept flashing red warnings, but Stone ignored them. He knew exactly what he was doing. "Unidentified vessel, you are entering Galactic Alliance space." The voice suddenly came through his radio. "Your primitive propulsion signature is not recognized. Turn back immediately." Stone looked at his radar. A large Alliance patrol ship had appeared ahead of him. It was many times bigger than his fighter and covered in shiny armor that showed off its advanced technology. "Alliance Patrol, this is Commander Stone from Earth." He responded while making final adjustments to his slingshot around Jupiter. "I'm responding to the Star Wanderer's distress call." There was a pause before the patrol ship responded. "Earth vessel, your assistance is not required. The Star Wanderer's situation is being handled by proper Alliance forces." "Really?" Stone asked as his ship shot out of Jupiter's gravity field at incredible speed. "Because I'm still hearing their distress call." "How far away are your proper forces?" Another pause. "The nearest Alliance battle group is 3 hours from the location." "I can be there in 40 minutes, Stone said, now flying past the patrol ship so fast they'd probably only saw a blur. "You can either help me save those people, or you can watch me do it alone." The Alliance ship tried to follow him, but their eye-controlled engines couldn't match the speed Stone had gained from his Jupiter slingshot. Soon they fell far behind, still shouting warnings that grew fainter and fainter. Stone checked his fuel levels. The slingshot maneuver had saved him a lot of fuel, but he'd still need every drop to help the Star Wanderer and get back home. He began planning his attack strategy while watching his long-range scanners for any sign of the pirates. "Computer, turn off all automatic targeting and flight assistance," Stone ordered. "Switch to full manual control." Warning: manual control reduces combat effectiveness by 60%. The computer protested. "Not with a human pilot. It doesn't," Stone said firmly. "And those pirates won't expect a ship flying without computer assistance. Their eye won't know how to predict what I'm going to do, because even I don't know until I do it." The computer fell silent as it switched everything to manual control. Stone's hands tightened on his controls, feeling the raw power of his ship responding directly to his commands. Up ahead, his scanners were starting to pick up weapons fire where the Star Wanderer was making its last stand. "Time to show the galaxy what Earth's best pilot can do," Stone said quietly. He pushed his engines even harder, racing toward what would either be a glorious rescue or a spectacular failure. Either way, the Alliance was about to learn that humans didn't need advanced AI to be dangerous. Stone's prototype fighter burst out of faster-than-light travel into a scene of chaos. The Star Wanderer floated in the middle of space, its once shiny hull now scared by weapon hits. 6 pirate ships circled around it like hungry sharks, taking turns firing at its weakening shields. "This is Commander Stone of Earth, responding to your distress call." Stone broadcast on the emergency frequency. "Star Wanderer, do you copy?" There was a moment of silence. Then Captain Blue's voice came through, filled with disbelief. "Earth? You mean the primitive planet that still uses manual controls?" "The same," Stone replied, pushing his fighter forward. "Though right now, those primitive controls might be exactly what you need." One of the pirate ships broke away from the attack formation to face Stone's approaching fighter. It was 3 times bigger than his ship, with weapons pointing out from every angle. The pirate captain's rough voice boomed over the radio. Well, what do we have here?" The pirate sneered. "A tiny ship from that backwater planet Earth. Did you get lost, little human?" Stone didn't answer. Instead, he watched how the pirate ship moved, just as he thought. Its movements were too perfect, too calculated. Their eye was doing all the flying. Your ship isn't even fully automated. Another pirate laughed, scanning Stone's fighter. What are you going to do? Try to fight us with your bare hands. Inside the Star Wanderer, Captain Blue watched the scene with growing worry. His crew had hoped for help from the Alliance, not a single human in a small fighter. Earth vessel, Blue transmitted, trying to sound diplomatic. While we appreciate your response, perhaps you should wait for proper Alliance ships. These pirates have military-grade weapons and AI systems. That's what I'm counting on, Stone said calmly. His hands tightened on the controls as he watched the pirates get closer. Captain Blue, when I give the signal, I need you to shut down your AI completely. Can you do that? Shut down our AI? Blue sounded shocked. But then we'd have no defenses at all. Trust me, Stone said. Their AI systems are their weakness, not their strength. The pirates had now surrounded Stone's fighter, their ships forming a perfect circle around him. Their formation was flawless, too flawless. No human pilots would line up so precisely. Last chance to run away, Earth Pig, the lead pirate called out, or we'll add your ship to our collection of scrap metal. Stone smiled. He had trained for years in simulator battles against AI-controlled ships. The pirates had no idea what was coming. Star Wanderer, Stone said quietly, shut down your AI. Now. To everyone's surprise, Captain Blue obeyed. The merchant ship went dark for a moment as all its AI systems turned off. The pirates laughed, thinking the Star Wanderer had surrendered. That's when Stone made his move. His fighter shot straight up at an angle no AI would ever attempt, barely squeezing through a gap between two pirate ships. The pirates fired quickly, but their shots hit empty space. They weren't used to targeting ships that moved unpredictably. Impossible, one pirate shouted as Stone's fighter danced between their ships. Our targeting AI cannot lock onto his flight pattern. Because there is no pattern, Stone called back, spinning his ship in a way that made the pirates' computers spark with confusion. That's the advantage of human pilots. We don't follow rules. Captain Blue and his crew watched in amazement as the small Earth fighter made the pirate ships look slow and clumsy. For the first time, they began to wonder if perhaps their reliance on AI had made them forget something important. The power of the human spirit. Stone's fighter spun through space like a leaf in the wind, moving in ways that made the pirates' targeting computers smoke with confusion. Every time their AI predicted where he would go, Stone went somewhere else instead. How is he doing this? A pirate captain shouted as Stone's fighter slipped past another perfect formation. Our computers say his moves are impossible. That's because your computers think like machines, Stone answered, pulling his ship into a tight backwards loop that no AI would ever attempt. But I think like a human pilot. He remembered all his training, all those hours studying old Earth air combat footage. The pirates had never seen these moves before because their AI thought they were too risky. But Stone knew better. He rolled his fighter between two pirate ships, so close that they had to turn away from each other to avoid a crash. Their perfect formation broke apart as each ship's AI tried to avoid collision while still following their attack programming. Captain Blue, Stone called to the Star Wanderer, "Are you watching how they move? Their ships always turn at the same angles. Their speeds are always perfectly calculated. That's their weakness." Inside the Star Wanderer, Captain Blue and his crew watched in amazement. Without their AI running, they could see things they had never noticed before. The pirate ships moved like dancers following the same routine over and over. Attack pattern recognized. A pirate ship's AI announced loudly over an open channel. Calculating countermeasures. Error, error. Human pilot not following expected flight paths. Stone grinned as he heard the AI's confusion. He pulled his fighter into another impossible turn, aiming straight for the biggest pirate ship. At the last second, he fired his engines in reverse and spun around, shooting at the ship's engines instead of its heavily armored front. Direct hit. Stone called out as the pirate ship's engines exploded. 1 down, 5 to go. The remaining pirates tried to surround him again, but their AI systems were starting to malfunction. They couldn't understand how one small ship could move so randomly and still hit its targets. Star Wanderer, Stone transmitted while dodging another wave of pirate fire. I'm going to try something crazy. When I give the word, I need you to fire everything you have at these coordinates. He sent them a set of numbers. But there's nothing there, Captain Blue protested. Not yet, Stone replied. He spun his fighter in a wild circle, making sure all 5 remaining pirate ships were following him. Their AIs were programmed to chase any target that ran away, and they couldn't override that programming fast enough. Stone led them on a crazy chase, spinning and diving between asteroids. The pirates followed, their ships getting closer and closer together as their AIs tried to predict where he would go next. They're bunching up, Stone said quietly. Their AIs are all running the same targeting program, so they're all trying to get to the same spot, just a little closer. The pirate ships were now flying almost side by side, their AIs convinced they had predicted Stone's next move. That's when he did something completely unexpected. He cut his engines and let his ship start falling backward. Now, Star Wanderer, Stone shouted, fire everything. The merchant ship's weapons opened up, shooting at the empty space Stone had marked. But it wasn't empty anymore. All 5 pirate ships had flown right into the trap, their AIs too slow to realize the mistake. The space around them lit up like a small sun as explosions chained from ship to ship. Stone fired his engines just enough to stay clear of the blast, watching as the pirate fleet fell into chaos. Impossible. The lead pirate's voice crackled over the radio one last time before his ship's AI went completely dark. The explosions faded slowly in the darkness of space, leaving behind floating pieces of what used to be the pirate fleet. Stone's fighter moved carefully through the debris, making sure no pirate ships had survived. The Star Wanderer's crew watched in silence, still trying to understand what they had just seen. All pirate ships confirmed destroyed, Stone reported calmly. Star Wanderer, are you and your crew okay? There was a long pause before Captain Blue answered. His voice sounded different now, more respectful, maybe even a little humble. We are fine. Thanks to you, Commander Stone. I must admit, I had my doubts about Earth's capabilities, but today has taught me an important lesson. Stone guided his fighter back to the Star Wanderer, checking his ship's systems as he flew. The battle had pushed his engines almost to their breaking point, but the prototype had held together perfectly. Your fighting style, Captain Blue continued, it was unlike anything our databanks have ever recorded. The way you move your ship, our best AI pilots couldn't copy it if they tried for 1,000 years. That's because they're trying to copy it, Stone explained, bringing his ship alongside the merchant vessel. Real combat isn't about copying moves or following patterns. It's about feeling the moment and trusting your instincts. Suddenly, multiple ships appeared at the edge of their sensor range. Stone tensed up, ready for another fight, but then relaxed when he saw their markings. It was the Alliance battle group, finally arriving 3 hours late. Star Wanderer, this is Alliance Command. A new voice boomed over the radio. We're here too. Wait, what happened here? Captain Blue laughed for the first time since the whole incident began. You're a bit late, Alliance Command. The situation has been handled by Commander Stone of Earth. Earth? The Alliance commander sounded shocked. You mean that primitive planet that still uses manual controls? How did they? His voice trailed off as his ship's scanners showed him the remains of the pirate fleet. Those primitive manual controls just saved my ship and my crew, Captain Blue said firmly. And they saved the medical supplies we're carrying too. Supplies that thousands of people are waiting for. The Alliance ships moved closer, their own AI systems trying to analyze what had happened. Stone could almost feel their confusion as they tried to understand how one small fighter had defeated 6 larger ships. This is unexpected, the Alliance commander finally said. Our records show that Earth technology is far behind galactic standards. Their ships shouldn't be capable of this kind of combat performance. Maybe it's time to update those records, Stone suggested. And maybe it's time to consider that newer doesn't always mean better. Sometimes the old ways still have value. Captain Blue's voice came back over the radio, but this time he was speaking to his own crew. Turn our AI systems back on, but leave manual controls active too. From now on, we're going to start training with both. The Alliance commander spluttered in surprise. Captain, that's against standard procedures. All Alliance ships must operate on full AI control for maximum efficiency. With all due respect, Commander, Blue replied, I just watched those efficient AI systems fail completely against 6 pirate ships. Then I watched one human pilot using manual controls defeat those same 6 ships. I think it's time for some new procedures. Stone smiled as he listened to the argument. He knew this was just the beginning. Soon, other Alliance ships would hear about what happened here. They would learn that humans weren't as primitive as they thought, and that sometimes the simplest solution was the best one. Commander Stone, Captain Blue called, would you be willing to escort us the rest of the way to the outer colonies? I have a feeling our trip just got a lot more interesting. 3 months after the battle with the pirates, Stone stood in front of a large window on the Galactic Alliance's main space station. Below him, Earth shone like a blue jewel in space, but he wasn't alone anymore. Beside him stood Captain Blue and several other alien officers, all watching as a new group of ships practiced combat maneuvers. Look at that, Blue said, pointing to where an Alliance ship was attempting one of Stone's combat moves. 6 months ago, we would have called that flying style dangerous and primitive. Now we're teaching it to our best pilots. Stone nodded, watching the ships dance through space. Some were still using full AI control, but many now had human pilots working alongside their computers, combining the best of both worlds. The pirates didn't know what hit them that day, one of the alien officers commented. Their stolen military AI was programmed to fight other AI systems. They never expected to face a human pilot who could think outside their programming. News of Stone's victory had spread quickly through the galaxy. At first, many Alliance officials had tried to dismiss it as luck or a malfunction in the pirate systems, but Captain Blue's detailed report, backed up by video evidence from both ships, couldn't be ignored. Commander Stone, a young alien pilot, called from across the room. Could you tell us again about that backwards loop maneuver? Our eye still says it's impossible. That's your first problem, Stone replied with a smile. Stop asking your eye what's possible. Start asking yourself what's necessary. The room was full of pilots from different alien species, all here to learn what the Alliance now called Earth-style combat flying. Some still looked doubtful, but most were eager to learn. The recent pirate attack had shown them that relying too much on AI could be dangerous. We've changed other things too, Captain Blue announced proudly. All merchant ships now carry backup manual controls, and every crew must include at least one pilot trained in manual flying. Stone remembered how different things had been just 3 months ago. Back then, the Alliance had seen Earth as a backward planet barely worth noticing. Now they were asking Earth to help train their pilots and design new ships. The pirates are having a harder time these days, another officer added. Their AI systems can't predict which ships will fight like machines and which will fight like humans. They're starting to avoid Alliance space completely. Through the window, they watched as more ships arrived for training. Some were from Earth, bringing more human pilots to teach their techniques. Others were Alliance vessels, coming to learn that sometimes the old ways were still useful. You know what the best part is? Captain Blue said, turning to Stone. We're not just learning about flying. We're learning to think differently, to trust our instincts again. To remember that technology should help us, not replace us. Stone spotted his old prototype fighter docked at the station. It didn't look so out of place anymore. Several Alliance ships nearby had been modified with similar manual controls, their crews learning to balance AI assistance with human judgment. Commander Stone, a voice called over the station speakers. Your next training class is ready. They're especially interested in learning about something called a barrel roll." Stone laughed. "Tell them to get ready. And tell their AI systems to take notes. They're about to see something that's technically impossible." As Stone walked to the training area, he heard Captain Blue explaining to some new arrivals about the day a single Earth pilot had changed how the galaxy thought about progress. The story had become famous, told and retold across the stars. The Alliance had learned an important lesson. Being advanced didn't always mean having the newest technology. Sometimes it meant remembering the value of the human spirit, the power of instinct, and the simple truth that the best computer ever made still couldn't match the unpredictability of the human mind.